Greetings everyone, this is Bill Gibbons, Crypto Hunter, finally back with another video. Well, first of all, I would like to thank you all for your kind words and prayers concerning the passing of my beloved wife of 32 years, Fee Chin. It's been very difficult without her, and so I've been filling my days with little things to do and trying to plan ahead. Now, I do want to keep this channel going, so I'm planning a series of cryptozoology presentations for you, along with some of my own expeditions in Canada and the USA, until I am able to return to Africa. The first of these might begin later this year with a visit to Lake Okanagan in British Columbia, where I hope to interview first-hand eyewitnesses, including a Canadian First Nations historian. This, of course, will include some time on the lake itself, in the hope that I can repeat my 2013 observation of Ogopogo. Except this time I will have my camcorder at the ready. About a 90-minute drive from Kelowna is Lake Shuswap, which also has very similar unidentified marine animals. So two very interesting lakes to investigate this year. Now, regarding African cryptids, I can confirm that Michel Ballot will be traveling to Gabon in January 2022 to team up with Michel Marchand, a telecommunications engineer who lives in the country. Monsieur Marchand has conducted his own research in some of the most remote areas in Gabon concerning the unidentified animals that live there, and has identified an area to the northeast of the country where many reports of the Nyamala have originated. Now, Nyamala is the Fang word for Mokele-mbembe, but they are, I'm pretty sure, the same animal. I'm pretty sure that some of you can remember the Arthur C. Clarke's Mysterious World TV show from the early 1980s. So here's a clip of Dr. Roy P. Mackall and herpetologist James T. Powell as they prepare for their first Congo expedition.
In downtown Chicago, the university's professor of biology on a shopping expedition.
What is all of this you have?
Well, a jungle machete, a jungle hammock, some medical supplies for the tropics, and a backpack.
Where are you off to with it?
Well, you may not believe this. We're off to Africa to look for dinosaurs.
For it's in the Congo that Professor Roy Mackall and his colleague, explorer James Powell, really believe, from many reports, that there may exist a living dinosaur, or something like it.
The animal is described as being as big as an elephant, or at least as big as a hippopotamus. It has a long head and neck and a long tail. It has feet that are like a hippopotamus, but it has 3 claws on each of these feet. Every kind of animal that we can think of that is alive today doesn't fit this picture. The closest it comes to, and amazing as this may seem, is a dinosaur that is extinct perhaps 65 to 70 million years.
It does have an almost perfect resemblance to certain types of dinosaurs, particularly the 3-clawed footprint. That's almost the trademark of certain long-necked dinosaurs. What really got me onto this was in 1976, I had a grant from the Explorers Club in New York to study rainforest crocodiles in the Gabon, which is a country immediately to the west of Congo. And since I had read about these reports, I decided to see if I could come across any similar information. So among the Fang tribesmen, I tried a little, you might say, flashcard test. I first of all showed them pictures of 5 animals which are reasonably common in the Gabon jungles. And in each case I would say, can you recognize this animal? What is it? He says, sure, of course, that's an elephant, that's a gorilla, that's a leopard, etc. These things live around here in the jungle. We know them. Then just as a control test, I showed him a picture of a bear. Now, there are no bear in Africa, so far as we know. And I said, do you know that animal? He said, no, we've never seen this. That animal not live around here. Then, just matter-of-factly, I showed him this. It's a picture of a diplodocus from a children's book on dinosaurs. I said, do you know that animal? And in several different villages, representing at least 2 different cultural groups, I would get consistent answers. Yes, that's the Nyamala. We know that animal. It lives back in the deep lakes, deep in the jungles.
Well, the evidence is strong enough that there seems to be some strange animal in this Congo. And if it's a dinosaur, it would be interesting enough for us to leave Chicago, the bright lights, the ghost of Mayor Daley, and go to the Congo.
Thus inspired, Chicago's Congo Expedition 1980 equips itself for the unknown.
Well, since the hammock works, James, I think I'll try on this mosquito hat. It won't keep out any mosquitoes, but let's see if it keeps out the snowflakes today.
Oh, that is great. For even original.
It feels warmer already. I don't feel any snowflakes, so it must work on mosquitoes, too. Somehow it doesn't look like the picture, does it?
But it was in Africa, the Congo, that an undoubtedly monstrous specimen appeared to confront this Belgian helicopter pilot, Remy van Leerde, as he returned from a mission in 1959.
So as we had a camera on board, I decided to make several passes over the hole where the snake was in able to let the man take a picture of it. And I made certainly between 4 and 6 passes right over the hole where the snake was in. By then I was already flying for 25 years, so I have a very good experience of measuring things. And I would say the snake I saw there was close to 50 foot, close to 50 feet. I don't know you say 50 foot or 50 feet, but very close to certainly. And it was moving inside the hole and looking very dark green, deep green, brown, with his belly white. Now when I came down on that snake in his hole, and I would say at about 25, 30 foot up, the snake raised up by about, I would say, 10 foot. And I could very clearly and closely see the head, which was looking, and I could not make a better comparison, as with a very large horse, with big, very, very big jaws, looking triangular. And you're just standing up like that to me, and I feel and I'm convinced if I had been in its range, it would have struck at me, it would have been striking me. And yet, I would say it was certainly at least on the very 2 foot wide and 3 foot long. It could have easily eaten up a man.
Meanwhile, in the winter gloom of Kennedy Airport, the 2 intrepid dinosaur hunters return from their quest in the Congo.
This expedition into the Congo was the most difficult thing that we've ever done, but it was well worth it.
It was both the best and the worst that I've been on. In the sense, it was the worst in terms of the difficulties encountered, but it's the most exciting in the results of any of the African things I've been on.
I remember walking through muck, slipping into slime up to my ankles, up to my waist at times. I remember the complete exhaustion every half an hour. When you couldn't get another breath of fresh air, you couldn't take another step. We were looking for eyewitness observers, and we gradually began to zero in on the geographical part of this area where eyewitness observers were concentrated. And using that technique, we were able to come to the center of the reports, to a place where actually the animals are alleged to be. They told us about how about 1959, 3 of these animals, possibly 2, had been coming into Lac Telly, and this had disturbed the fishing of the pygmies. So the pygmies decided they're going to stop this and started to drive stakes in across the opening into the lake. This prevented the animals from coming in, but one was, while it was attempting to get through the stakes, was speared by the pygmies. They proceeded to kill the animal and cut it up into slices. The report from the observer was that it took forever because of the long tail and the long neck. They described it as being about 30 feet long, with a head and neck 2 to 3 meters long, some 6 to 9 feet, looking much like a large snake, but attached to a thick body.
What was maddening about it was that at Adipena, we were, I would say, about 25 airline miles from Lac Telly, which is one of the places where there might conceivably still be living specimens of this creature. We were unable to reach the lake because it would have taken from 2 to 3 days to get into the lake, a comparable amount of time to march out, and we would have wanted to stay, sometime at the lake. And we would not have had time to get out of the country before our visas expired.
As we went along and gathered this information, I became more and more convinced that we are dealing with a real animal, perhaps extinct in a very recent past, but still a real animal. Yet if we believe what the Congolese and the pygmies told us, the animals are still alive today in certain parts of the Bai River, which is a tributary of the Likwala, perhaps even in the Likwala and perhaps Lake Telly. We conclude that there is indeed a real animal and that this animal is a species which is unknown to science in a living form.
The expedition being planned by the 2 Michels in Gabon is focused in the northeast of the country. They will enter northern Gabon from Cameroon, then onto the administrative capital of Makuku. From there they will travel north on the Ivindo and Nuna rivers on large inflatable Zodiac boats, then into the Lope National Park, located at the far northeast of the country. Now, although this heavily forested region has been designated a national park, its forests, lakes, rivers, and swamps remain largely unexplored. According to Gabon's Ministry of Water and Forests, about 80% of the country remains unexplored to this day. Note that the park itself borders the Republic of the Congo to the east and Cameroon to the north. Note the rivers that run into Gabon from both neighboring states. This, of course, would make it easy for Mokele-mbembes or Nyamalas, whichever you prefer, to migrate back and forth into both countries. Of primary interest are the 2 lakes. These are Lake Bowu and Lake Masalinga. The surrounding forest and swamps will also be explored. The plan is to establish a base camp and explore the rivers, lakes, and swamps in this location and place a number of trail cameras throughout the area. Now, I've been trying to persuade Michel to do this for some time, and now finally he's going to do it. So Michel will return in August next year and retrieve the cameras to determine if any images and video clips have been obtained of the Nyamala or any other unidentified animal that lives in that area. Now, I would very much like to go with them, but the financial restraints I'm currently dealing with since my wife's passing has simply made this impossible. The cost of participating in this expedition for 2 people will be 35,000 euros. Now that's 41,330 United States dollars. Quite a bit of money. Now this covers everything from hotels, internal travel, and all field supplies, because we're going to be there for at least 3 weeks. But it does not cover flights to and from Gabon. However, I hope to travel there in August 2022, only a year away, to survey the target area in the Lope National Park, and to assist in the collecting of the trail cameras. Now, needless to say, I will keep you fully informed on all upcoming developments. So once again, thank you for your kindness and patience. So let's get the ball rolling with those field trips to Lake Okanagan and beyond, once the forest fires have died down and the air quality improves. So thank you again for your patience, and I'll be back soon with another report. Until then, this is Bill Gibbons saying thank you again, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.